The dawn broke gently over the city of Rome, casting a soft golden light upon the ancient structures that had stood for centuries. The Tiber River glistened as it meandered through the heart of the city, its surface reflecting the excitement that buzzed in the air. Today was no ordinary day. It was the day when Gaius Julius Caesar would return to Rome in triumph after years of military campaigns that had expanded the boundaries of the Republic beyond imagination. The Via Sacra, the sacred road leading to the Forum, was already teeming with citizens. From the wealthiest patricians to the humblest plebeians, people lined the streets, eager to witness the grandeur of the procession. Children sat atop their parents' shoulders, their eyes wide with wonder. Vendors moved through the crowd, selling garlands of flowers and small effigies of Caesar, capitalizing on the fervor that gripped the city. The air was filled with the mingling scents of incense, fresh bread, and the unmistakable aroma of anticipation. Banners adorned with laurel wreaths and inscriptions celebrating Caesar's victories fluttered in the mild breeze. The entire city seemed to have paused, holding its collective breath in expectation of the spectacle that was about to unfold. As the sun climbed higher, the distant sound of trumpets announced the beginning of the procession. The crowd's murmur grew into a roar as the first figures appeared. Leading the way were the senators and magistrates, resplendent in their formal togas edged with purple. Their expressions were a mixture of solemnity and reluctant admiration, aware that this day marked a significant shift in Rome's power dynamics. Behind them marched the legions, soldiers who had fought under Caesar's command in distant lands. Their armour gleamed, polished to perfection, and their shields bore the marks of countless battles. They moved in perfect unison, a testament to the discipline and training that had made them an unstoppable force. Standards bearing golden eagles and banners inscribed with the names of conquered territories, Gallia, Britannia, Aegyptus, were held high, symbols of the vastness of Caesar's achievements. Next came the spoils of war, paraded for all to see. Wagons overflowed with treasures, chests brimming with gold and silver coins, tapestries woven with intricate designs, and sculptures crafted by the finest artisans of conquered lands. Exotic animals followed, lions from Africa, their manes majestic, elephants draped in ornate fabrics, and even a giraffe, its long neck stretching above the crowd, a creature so rare that many Romans had only heard of it in tales. The display of wealth and wonder filled the onlookers with awe. Each artifact and creature was a tangible representation of Rome's expanding influence and the prosperity that came with it. The people cheered, their voices rising in a chorus of adulation that echoed through the streets. Amidst the grandeur, a sombre note was struck by the appearance of the prisoners of war. Defeated leaders and warriors were led in chains, their heads held high despite their captivity. Among them was Vercingetorix, the formidable chieftain of the Gauls. His presence served as a stark reminder of the cost of defying Rome and the might of Caesar's military prowess. Finally, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. Caesar appeared, standing tall in a chariot pulled by 4 white horses. He wore a laurel crown and a purple toga embroidered with gold, garments reserved for the most honoured of victors. In his hand he held an ivory sceptre topped with an eagle, symbolizing his authority and the divine favour he was believed to possess. As his chariot moved along the Via Sacra, the crowd erupted into frenzied applause. Flowers were thrown into his path, creating a fragrant carpet beneath the wheels. Shouts of praise filled the air, and the sheer volume of the adulation was overwhelming. Caesar acknowledged the crowd with measured gestures, exuding a calm confidence that belied the significance of the moment. Amid the jubilant masses, not everyone shared in the celebration. A group of senators stood apart, their expressions guarded. They watched the proceedings with a mixture of apprehension and disdain, aware that Caesar's unparalleled popularity posed a threat to the traditional power structures of the Republic. Among them was Marcus Junius Brutus, a man whose internal conflict was evident in his furrowed brow and distant gaze. As the procession continued, Caesar's chariot approached the Forum, the political heart of Rome. The grandeur of the architecture, the towering columns, the statues of past heroes, provided a fitting backdrop for the culmination of the triumph. Caesar dismounted and ascended the steps to the Temple of Jupiter, Optimus Maximus. There he performed the customary sacrifices, offering thanks to the gods for the victories he had achieved. The rituals were conducted with meticulous care. Priests chanted hymns, their voices blending with the scent of burning incense that wafted through the air. The people watched in reverent silence as Caesar made his offerings, each gesture steeped in tradition and symbolism. As the official ceremonies concluded, the festivities shifted into a more relaxed atmosphere. Feasts were held throughout the city, with tables laden with delicacies from across the empire. Musicians played melodies that lifted the spirits, and dancers entertained the crowds with their graceful movements. Gladiatorial games were organized, showcasing feats of strength and skill that thrilled the spectators. Yet beneath the veneer of celebration, tensions simmered. The senators who harbored doubts about Caesar's intentions convened in whispered meetings, their concerns fueled by the display of his unmatched influence. They questioned the implications of one man wielding such power and the potential erosion of the Republic's foundational principles. In the privacy of his residence, Caesar reflected on the day's events. The triumph had been a culmination of years of relentless effort, strategy, and determination. He considered the reforms he planned to implement, redistributing land to veterans, restructuring debts, and initiating public works projects that would benefit the populace. His vision extended beyond military conquest. He aspired to leave a lasting legacy that would transform Rome into a beacon of prosperity and enlightenment. However, he was not oblivious to the undercurrents of discontent. He recognized that his rapid ascent and the sweeping changes he proposed threatened the established order. The weight of leadership pressed upon him, a constant reminder of the delicate balance he needed to maintain. As days turned into weeks, Caesar began enacting his reforms. He initiated projects to rebuild and beautify the city, providing employment and improving the quality of life for its inhabitants. The Julian calendar was introduced, a more accurate system that aligned the months with the solar year. These actions endeared him further to the people, whose lives were directly impacted by the improvements. The senators who opposed him grew increasingly alarmed. They perceived his actions as overreaching, interpreting his popularity and reforms as steps toward absolute rule. Secret meetings were held, and a conspiracy began to take shape. The group believed they were acting in the best interest of the Republic, convinced that drastic measures were necessary to prevent the rise of a tyrant. Meanwhile, Caesar continued to navigate the complexities of leadership. He was aware of the rumors circulating about his ambitions, but remained focused on his objectives. He sought to unify Rome and secure its position as a dominant force in the world. His plans extended to further military campaigns, including an expedition against Parthia, which he believed would secure Rome's eastern borders. Amidst these developments, relationships strained under the weight of political discord. Close allies found themselves at odds, torn between personal loyalty and ideological convictions. The atmosphere in Rome grew increasingly polarized, with the populace largely supporting Caesar while the senatorial opposition intensified their efforts. On the eve of the Ides of March, ominous signs and portents were reported throughout the city. Unsettling dreams and unusual occurrences heightened the sense of foreboding. Despite warnings and pleas for caution, Caesar prepared to attend a session of the Senate at the Theatre of Pompey. As he made his way through the streets, the usual bustle of Rome seemed subdued. Upon entering the Senate chamber, he was surrounded by the conspirators. In a swift and brutal act, they carried out their plan. The assassination was as shocking as it was sudden, leaving the senators and witnesses in a state of chaos. The news of Caesar's death spread rapidly, plunging the city into turmoil. The public reaction was one of outrage and grief. Riots erupted, and the stability of the Republic was thrown into question. The conspirators had aimed to restore the traditional governance of Rome, but their actions unleashed a series of events that would lead to further conflict and the eventual end of the Republic. In the aftermath, figures like Mark Antony and Octavian emerged, each vying for power and seeking to capitalize on the vacuum left by Caesar's demise. The ensuing struggles culminated in a transformation of Rome's political landscape, paving the way for the rise of the Roman Empire under Augustus. Caesar's life and death became emblematic of the complexities of power, ambition, and the fragility of political structures. His triumph in Rome was not merely a celebration of military victories, but a pivotal moment that highlighted the shifting dynamics within the Republic. The grandeur of that day stood in stark contrast to the events that followed in the aftermath of his death.